Alright, what's up, y'all? Here we are, episode 64 of the Pursuit of Sound podcast, and this time it's cool to have Cory from the Grilled Cheese Show up in here. Saw you the other day at Skate Charleston, and it was a funny sort of synchronicity when I saw you, because this guy had come up to me and was talking about how he always watches like the God's performance of the Grilled Cheese Show when y'all had us on, and it's like, no way. And then I saw this dude walking up the hill with a grilled cheese shirt on, and I was like, that guy's actually wearing a grilled cheese shirt. And I was like, wait, that guy's actually Cory. And I thought it was a really tickling moment. And yeah, I was like, dude, might as well have you on. We're interested to have you do a music video for us and stuff. How's everything been going for you lately?
Good. I mean, thanks for having me on. Yeah, things have been busy with video stuff. Just, I was telling you earlier, I just started a new documentary yesterday about another local band. And so I've been doing a lot with that. I've been doing an Instagram series with Chris Gardner, which has been sort of like spreading the events of the week, and that's been a lot of fun. Getting to tag a lot of people in that, so sort of bring everybody in under one sort of umbrella, Yeah, and then I do the Grilled Cheese Show.
Yeah, and it started. I'm glad you're still staying busy, because it was years ago that I caught wind of a place called Cory's Grilled Cheese, and y'all were located in that shopping center right at Maybank Highway and in Folly Road, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and y'all would throw shows there, and I feel like I went in there once, twice. I don't think I ever got the opportunity to actually catch a show. Crucify me, I hate myself for that. But the fact that, after the restaurant, you went on to keep up this grilled cheese show and involve local bands and dive into these live video productions that you put up on your YouTube channel.
Yeah, so I guess a little bit of background about me. I studied film and video, fine arts in college. And while I was at school, I lived in a rock and roll house that had all kinds of touring bands coming through there. Real like underground venue in Philadelphia, kind of legendary. I think it's been shut down, but it was open for 30 years, and we had all kinds of really cool bands. Like the Dead Milk Band had a reunion show, and first time in 15 years there. And I remember I got to play on the stage with Of Montreal. Anyway, I don't mean to name drop.
With Of Montreal?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
you're welcome to name drop.
In 2002 or 3, it was that. Yeah, this was a long time ago. But anyway, so, I always had a passion for both, filmmaking and music. So, I played in a band. I've always been in a band, even when I wasn't actively involved in the visual arts, and ended up opening a restaurant, and it was the perfect place to host DIY shows, like I had done in college, where we were able to get some really cool talent come through there, and sort of really build a community and a scene around the accessibility of this music. So when the restaurant closed, I had already been taping sessions at the restaurant with my old mini DV camera, which was a really high-end camcorder that unfortunately is obsolete. But yeah, I started taping sessions when the restaurant closed. It was just, I had to figure out a way to do art for a living, was like, that was my mission.
Yeah.
And I, kept working at it by, recording as many bands as I could, on the grilled cheese show, which, sort of became a, institution on its own. So yeah, being a underground musician and, helping to foster the underground music scene, especially in a town like Charleston where the tapestry is so rich with all different genres of music. There are a lot of people here who deserve the attention, and happy to, to practice my craft, while also, sharing the platform with people who deserve the spotlight.
Amen. Yeah, that's the cool part about how it instantly cross pollinates between, audio and visual, and, it gets the word out that much more for the grilled cheese show every time that band posts the video. And, you've been doing it for a while. Like, how many live sessions do you think you've done at this point?
Well over 100. I would say it's probably closer to 140.
What?
130, 140 sessions, and that doesn't include whatever other content we've done for bands here and there.
Yeah, like the
short form and promos and documentaries and stuff like that.
Yeah, which I was going through like the back catalog a little bit, and I saw that you ventured into like some comedy skits too, which I was like, oh, that tickled me, because I love comedy so much, and it's always fun to just do it yourself, like, and the fact that you just have already taken that initiative, I thought was cool. And yeah, dude, I'm eager to hopefully, I think we're going to be working with you for like a music video here soon. I watched the one with Mantra. I like that one. I watched both of them. Obviously, the Mantra one I dug a lot.
It's a little more nuanced.
Yeah. And just like that whole, like they're good actors, like as well. And like the play between like the singer being there next to the other guy and the girl, and just all like little switch ups, like when he's under the table all of a sudden and stuff like that. Little things like that went a long way in my book for, like kind of production value and stuff. How much of that is from their direction versus like your direction?
That's a good question. They definitely had a strong concept of what they wanted, without having like specific shots in mind. So, when we were on location, Ben definitely had the last part like totally blocked out in his head, so that was, sort of just like, in that case, it was a little bit of, direction and blocking, for the angles, but, that was his idea. And then, having the couple sing mouth the lyrics, to his voice, that was also his idea, so, we definitely built around their concept, based on the shots we had available. And, and we had a crew, and we had, lights and all that stuff, ready to go. But yeah, that was definitely like a collaboration, and I can't take too much credit for the writing of that video.
It's a cool collaboration. I dig it. Yeah, I'm looking forward to when it comes out as well.
Me too.
Yeah, like for some reason, I just feel like there's some sort of I don't know, like I just figured there'd be more people doing more music videos here in Charleston and stuff. And, although there are people doing music videos, it's sort of few and far between. I feel like that part of our culture is still like actively developing. Like, don't get me wrong, people are out here making content all the time and stuff. But yeah, like it's cool that you started to get into the long form with like this documentary style stuff and everything. That's always like a big undertaking. Like I feel you when me and Deslam we were working on our second half of the making of our album, and when you got like an hour's worth of footage right there, and you're just looking at it, and you're like, oh, I gotta edit all of this and like come up with nice transitions between all this and create a storyboard. It's truly an undertaking.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely have a system though that makes it pretty efficient. I mean, editing is like my favorite part of filmmaking. It's what I always wanted to do. Like I operate the camera because I know how to, and not a lot of people do, but really that's just in service of like my editing. And yeah, and I've definitely developed like a technique to like cut out all the fat like right away, and sort of like index every shot for like what it represents. And then sort of you get patterns where ideas sort of like reoccur, and then okay, so you got these shots that go together, and these shots go together, and you can kind of like piece it together a little systematically, and for me, there's nothing better than like shooting some meaty footage and coming home and just like sitting over the computer and editing all night. Yeah.
Do you use like Premiere Pro, or what kind of editing software?
I use Final Cut Pro.
Yeah.
Although I've just started to color on DaVinci.
I've heard about this DaVinci for color grading.
Yeah. Yeah, it's totally different muscle, but lets you get a little bit more granular. I like it.
That's what's up. I used to mess around in Final Cut and was able to get a lot done. Like once you get used to like, the flow of whatever program you're working in. And then it just kind of got to the point where it was like, oh, I think I should start using Premiere Pro, and just like the editing flow is completely different. And it's just like, oh, like sometimes I feel like I was able to accomplish like some more detailed, like custom stuff in Final Cut. But I think it's just me needing to get more into Premiere Pro, but I mean,
it's a learning curve. Like I was taught on Premiere originally, and then on Final Cut Pro in school, but really when it came time to like make my thesis project in college, I bought a 400-page book on Final Cut Pro and read that thing front to back, and that's how I learned it.
That's what's up.
Yeah. And YouTube videos are excellent, but like having the text in front of you is like a way better way to learn software, I find.
Yeah. Back in our day, we actually had books.
Yeah, books, kids. Worth checking out.
I didn't even know that you played music. Don't hate me for that. You play guitar? Or
I'm a bass player.
Yeah. That's what's up. What kind of bass?
I play all styles. Right now I play in I guess like alt folk, alt country, rock and roll kind of outfit, with Joe Wheaton.
I've heard of Joe Wheaton.
Yeah. And he and I played together in various bands over the years, over 15 years. But
dang,
our big band was Pinkerton and the Brinks, and that was active, maybe like 6 years ago. And then
music online for that?
Yep. Yeah, there's a website, Pinkerton and the Brinks on YouTube. Check it out. And then after that, I joined an R&B band called Logan and the Kidders. There's also music for them online. We recorded at Charleston Sound Studios, and then the pandemic happened, and people moved away, had children, and whatever. But yeah, I've written and recorded probably a dozen albums at home on my home recording studio that I've never shared with anybody. Although some of that is on my portfolio. GrilledCheeseCory.GoDaddySites.com if you're interested. Haven't paid for the domain yet, but I will.
We'll link to all that below. What kind of audio software do you use for your productions?
So out of school, I bought Steinberg Cubase is what I started with.
Yeah, Cubase.
Which I don't think has been a thing for some time.
Yeah, I heard about it years ago.
Yeah, but I use GarageBand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yo, GarageBand gets the job done.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't do any, kind of like crazy plugins or I don't use crazy pedals or effects or anything like that. I use a really direct approach to recording. Because I do it for myself, it's like, because I was never interested in pursuing a solo career, and I'm not like a solo performer. So, it's really music that I like. And I only recently posted it, maybe somebody will find it and like it, but.
No, I dig that because, yeah, there's so much extra fluff, like, around the recording process these days, it seems. And it annoys me as well. Like, I've tried to, simplify the process as much as possible on my end as well. Like, when working on stuff, just like, because next thing you know, you're like, oh, I'm just stuck in an EQ, like just trying to like make things perfect when it really should be about like, not only making music for yourself and like, but yeah, just focusing on the composition and that feeling and really learning something like through a song, like within yourself. But it's, obviously music is a personal journey for each individual artist.
And there's lots of different reasons people make music.
Yeah, exactly. Like Bad Baby, she makes it for the right reasons.
She spits bars.
Yeah.
Bad bars.
Oh my gosh.
Catch me outside.
Straight up. What do you typically listen to? Like what have you been listening to these days? Music or even like podcasts? Like what do you
yeah. So I mean at night in bed, I listen to a lot of like, astrophysics and stuff like that.
That's what's up.
But
like on YouTube? Or
yeah, YouTube. Yeah, a lot of random science shit. But like, music wise, I listen to a lot of local music. But as far as like popular music goes, my favorite band is probably MGMT.
Whoa. Yeah. Not to forget about MGMT.
Yeah. I thought their last album was awesome. I grew up with those guys. I mean, not really grew up with them, but like they're about a year or two younger than me. There's a small chance that I hung out with them when they were in college.
A small chance?
Yeah,
what does that mean?
At Wesleyan in Connecticut. I was hanging out with a friend who was a musician on their college campus who was the same year as them at their college.
Yeah.
And they were making this electronic music, these two kids,
Yeah.
And he's like, check out my two friends. They're making this cool electronic music, Didn't think anything of it. And then years later, I found out that they went to that college and they would have been there at that time. And it very easily could have been those two guys. So,
oh my God.
urban legend in my life, not verifiable. I mean, I could reach out to that guy and see if it was, but we haven't been in touch in a long time.
I wanna rest assured that it was them. I remember just scrolling across a random video on like Instagram or whatever, and it's like pretty darn sure it's like footage of like MGMT like back before they blew up, just outdoors somewhere. I think set up in front of like some building with like just like a table, like a fold out table it looked like, and one, like, they were just like one guy singing and the other dude like messing around with some stuff like on the
tape
table
machine or something.
Yeah, and I think it was like the kids song or whatever, or
yeah, I mean they played that song in school. Yeah, that was one of their OGs. That's funny.
And it's cool, yeah, because all these people, they start out as local artists as well. You know, everybody's got their humble beginning, which I think is really cool because it makes you look around at your fellow musicians in your local scene. It makes you look at them more like an actual rock star, you know, like it can be easy to sort of just brush off like maybe somebody because they're not like 20,000 followers on Instagram, etc., all this stuff. And instead just sort of like, you know, learn to appreciate everybody's artistic talent and value and not like undermine it or anything like that or unsupported. But yeah, instead, you know, support it and be a part of it because you never know.
I mean, I love bringing up Seattle as an example of like, you know, in the early 90s when grunge became a thing, all those bands got attention because they were all getting attention, you know, like they were all getting shine from, you know, Nirvana played and, you know, Pearl Jam played at the same venue the night before, you know, and like, you know, they're like all elevating each other, you know, and Charleston has a lot of talent right now that is like at that level, professionality wise, but you know they're ready to break out of the Charleston scene into something bigger, and that's definitely something that like I hope that I can help be a part of for some of these groups, you know.
Me too, and you know I just try to think it's just sticking with it and you know just doing it every day for all the right reasons, and these things happen eventually, you know, and because yeah, it's not like you're gonna get a handout. Like it, not everybody's success story is an overnight one.
No, it definitely takes work, and only lucky people like get there without working.
Yeah, exactly. One of the bigger people out of Charleston right now, I've been noticing. Little Stranger apparently has been doing their thing. Mm-hmm. Doom Flamingo was getting there, obviously, and then you know, Doom Flamingo.
Yeah, I got to tape them once.
Yeah.
And I know Kanika and TK and Sean Bing.
Yeah, so I guess they're not a band anymore. Did you hear about that?
I hadn't heard about that, but I also am not 100% surprised based on how things went after they dropped their album, you know? But you know, Sean's playing full-time with the Delics now. And
wait, which one was Sean?
He was the drummer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I mostly knew Thomas Kenny and Kanika.
Mm-hmm.
But that's cool. I need to catch the Psychedelics. I know that they're awesome, and isn't Noah in that band?
Yeah, Noah Jones.
He is just an absolute shredder on those keys.
Yeah. Just shout out to the Delics. They were the subject of my first movie. They are all beasts on their instruments. Yeah. Every single one of them is a monster.
We should link to them below as well. And I think Little Bird, they're starting to get some bigger attention. I saw them get mentioned on a thing. I was like on Instagram yesterday.
Yeah, I know they've been traveling a lot.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, we've had The Working Title come out of here years ago. Also, there's another pretty big band. Remember Band of Horses?
Yeah.
Hootie and the Blowfish.
Yeah.
Honorable mentions and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm really curious to see how this next wave, like for local music in Charleston, sort of I'm curious to see how it evolves.
Yeah, me too. I think there's a lot of people out there who are putting in the time and effort. But back to what you were saying earlier about the music videos, it's like music is really accessible to everybody, you know, but when it comes to like video technology, it's very specialized gear, you know, like anybody's got a guitar, and anybody's dad had a guitar, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but to get into, you know, real media production, you know, takes time, training, and equipment, you know, and
True.
uh, and it, I guess what it would be nice, you know, if I had some, like, I know there are people out there like Babe Club does amazing video work. Little Strangers video guy is incredible. I love all his work. If you're watching, good job.
Shout out.
And but yeah, I think that now the technology is available, and people, mostly of the younger generation who grew up, like, you know, with Instagram video editing and you know, CapCut and you know, TikTok and stuff like that. These people are growing up with the language that you used to have to learn through like special training and education, you know. And you know, there is cool stuff coming out. And I'd like to see definitely some of these younger guys like put in the time to learn the craft in a serious way, you know, to match the, you know, the quality of musicianship that we have. You know, there's fine arts here in Charleston, but I don't see like a lot of symbiosis between the visual arts and the music community. You know.
Yeah, it can be tough because I think even I'll come at it from even my own perspective. Like, it's not cheap for a band that's like, you know, not the richest band in the world. Like, you know, paying for somebody to do a video for you can be a lot to, like, I get it. Like, you know, everybody has their prices and everything, and it's just so hard to, like, you know, give out like X amount of money every time you want to get a video done. And so it kind of hinders the process of being able to put out that much more high quality content. So, you know, for bands like my band and stuff, like, you know, we've had to go the route of like self-produced, like where we get our friends and we are like, we'll get you beer and, you know, we'll take you out to eat. Just help us do this. And, you know, it's not always the most fancy stuff, but, you know, we get the work done, and it's hard to do everything yourself at that rate. So it's like, you know, our thing has been trying to find, you know, just the right person to work with. And it's always good to work with numerous people as well, you know. So, so yeah, where am I even trying to go with that? Yeah, it's just one of those things where it can be hard. Like, although all the technology is here, it's like a lot of stuff is expensive these days, man. And like, well, minimum wage hasn't gone up in a while.
Well, in my personal story, you know, when the pandemic happened and I decided to get back into film and video as like a career option, I was doing everything on iPhones and my old iPhones that I hadn't traded in.
What?
You know, so I had 3 or 4 iPhones.
Nice.
And I was like, well, I know how to edit and I know how to film. You know, it's like, I don't need to wait until I've got the gear. I'm just going to work at it and keep working at it. And then eventually I was able to start charging money for it. And I started to upgrade, you know, but really, you know, those first couple of years, I don't think I charged a penny for any videos, you know, and it was just video after video after video, practice. And, you know, and then I got to the point where people who, are interested in spending money on content, are willing to, you know, but, you know, that being said, like you were saying, the DIY in it, absolutely an option. Just put in the work, you know, like, I've seen incredible self-produced content, you know, shot on iPhone or whatever is accessible, you know, but with with a little bit of creativity and perseverance, like today the sky's the limit. I mean, with all this free software and all that stuff, like it's not hard to find a path in a visual language.
No, I do agree. If there's a will, there's a way. And no, I respect the way that you sort of came up with your freelance video work as well. Like, it's very similar to even like the production stuff I do here for local artists as well. Like, in the beginning, yeah, you just do everything for free, obviously. Mm-hmm. And then, once your portfolio is up and, the quality speaks for itself and the price point is justified, you just start to work your way up. And I highly commend that. And I think anybody can do the same as well who's willing and able. So yeah, pick up the camera and do something. Here we are doing a podcast.
DaVinci Resolve is free. There's a million videos on how to use it. Or you can buy a book at a book vendor online.
Is there anything that you specifically might just like have that you want to talk about? Just anything?
Yeah. I want to say, that part of what I do with the grilled cheese show with my business partner, Cam Johnson,
who's awesome. Love you, Cam.
Yeah. Is, we are actively trying to build a community, and that's through, our web platform, but also like, throwing shows and attending events, and, we've started to work with Extra Chill, another new publication in town, and we're friends with the reporters at the Post and Courier, and it's like we're all in this together, and we can all help each other out. And bands do it all the time by throwing each other gigs, on their lineups or whatever. But Charleston is a small enough community, that there's room for a lot of people to, to get stage time and air time and all that stuff. And, we're trying to build that community, and like, we see it out there with other people, working, across, media and across, disciplines, to like, to create something unique and distinctly Charleston, but like also, that is marketable on a bigger level, like a national level. There are bands here, who deserve attention. You guys, gods, you got great sound. And, Rat-a-Tat?
They're an older band?
I'm not sure how old they are, but I'm probably at least 10 years old.
Yeah, because you're not talking about the Pokemon.
No.
Yeah, no. What about them again?
They're like a duo from New York who do like a full produced sound, and they've got like a really groovy, catchy thing going on. This is a different genre than you guys, but it's like, adjacent to what you do.
Yeah, I swear I know this band, but like,
but yeah, they're cool, and I think you guys, you fill a niche here. Like, you're sort of like proggy, mathy kind of music that there aren't a lot of bands in town doing.
Yeah, well, I do appreciate hearing that. I need to look into Rat-a-Tat, because this is the band right here, 17 years.
Yeah, probably it's a duo.
Rat-a-Tat. Yeah, that
looks like two people, right?
Yeah. I need to give them a proper listen.
Yeah, give them a listen. They're instrumental. They do cool shit with like backwards guitars, but like, backward guitar loops.
Oh, huh. Yeah, I need to get down on that. Yeah, no, I appreciate that sentiment that you were just, expressing about, just the community here in and of itself. And like, yeah, it's like I know everybody wants that sort of like that Seattle in the 90s sort of like X factor for Charleston, but it kind of boils down to each one of our own, like sets of capabilities and motivation and all that. So it's like, it's our responsibility to do the best we can for, not only ourselves, but for those around us, hence why I enjoy having this podcast as well. It's just a good way to, for one thing, get that like sort of podcast itch, satisfied on my end and, keep the momentum going, keep things fresh and relevant and try to do my little part as well.
Yeah, I love what you're doing. The more, the better. And, thank you for shining a spotlight on the people that you do.
Yeah, of course, everybody deserves it, man. And, I want to see more of it and I want to see everybody do bigger and better things, and you've just been steady, like in your lane, doing your thing. And I love that. Like, I need to go back through the catalog and just get down on more of your stuff, because it's good.
Thanks, man.
It is good.
Thanks.
Now, there's like, I don't know if there's anybody else here in town doing it quite like you.
I mean, I went I have like formal training and education in it, but, I went the amateur route, like I never worked for like a big studio or film production or anything like that, and it's all, homegrown aesthetic, and, I don't know where I was going with that.
Well, I mean, would you, if you had the opportunity, like go to be, say, like the main camera guy or even like the editor of like a say like a Netflix show or something? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would take any TV editing job.
Yo, let's sign this guy up.
I will edit anybody's movie. I would love the opportunity because, that's just like, there's nothing, like I was saying earlier, I love getting my fingers dirty and like coming out with like a polished piece of media at the end,
Yeah.
But that being said, like, I'm glad I was never a grip. I'm glad, I was only a PA for a little bit in my early 20s, and I didn't do like that grunt work, which is what a lot of people end up doing who want to be in the industry, because there's only ever one guy behind the camera and there's only ever one director.
Right.
And it's like the odds of you, going from like, grip to assistant camera to camera operator to DP, like to director, is just like, it just doesn't happen, And I don't like the grunt work, I like the synthesis of creating my own shit. So it's like, maybe I don't have Hollywood production values, but I get to do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
Sorry, language.
No, exactly. I feel you. There is sort of like that dichotomy. Like, as much as you do want to do it, it's like, it seems I'm hard to, like climb the ladder, so to speak.
Yeah, I was never interested in playing the game. And, and hopefully one day I'll be a good case study for how you can do it on your own outside of the system, because, music is a good example of a medium that is like easily accessible, but, if you have like a hobby or an interest in something, you can, by doing it, get better and more legit, and you can do that with any medium, any craft. It doesn't have to be, video or music. It could be needlework. It could be, fly making, whatever,
Literally, it's all about just doing your thing already. It's awesome when you make that personal breakthrough where you're like, oh my gosh, like I made it through this learning curve, and like I'm now being able to look back on my techniques and compound those with other techniques, and now I'm doing some stuff. And it's cool because you only get to that like epiphany level through like going through all the hard, unmotivating parts of it. And so yeah, those who know, and it's totally worth it. Stick through the craft. But something that was that sort of piqued me when you mentioned astrophysics earlier. I was like, okay, interesting. Like I love like sciencey stuff as well. And the thing about the astrophysics in specific was Deslin was telling me like the other month when we were out driving, I was looking up at the moon and we were something like, hey, like, wow, it's like a full moon or whatever. And there's like this star next to the moon at that point. And Deslin was like, oh yeah, you see that star? Like, that's actually apparently some asteroid that's making its way towards Earth that's like potentially cataclysmic.
Yeah, in the next couple of years, like
Yeah.
3 years, might come back around and hit Earth or something.
Something like we looked into it a little bit. I forget the name of this asteroid because I was like, what? I was like, I'm pretty sure that star is like been there for a while,
Right.
and it's
a planet.
I thought it's like on like the state flag and stuff. It could be any star, like really, because stars move. And yeah, I was just like, how do you know, Des? Like, are you sure? Like, we did a little bit of fact checking, although I could not verify whether or not that specific light source was what he was referring to. The thing that he was referring to apparently exists. And I'm just like, how in the world, like, how are they able to tell? Like, it boils down to like that astrophysics like portion of it, like the whole Neil deGrasse Tysoning, the Stephen Hawking calculations behind it,
orbital dynamics and relativity and all of it.
Do you know exactly which asteroid I'm referring to by any chance?
I think so. There was one that was supposed to be visible in the night sky not that long ago. I don't know if you could see it with your naked eye, but like binoculars, you could see it. And that's the one that for a minute there had like a 10% chance of hitting Earth, and now it's down to like a 2% chance or something like that. They're saying that, it's on its own trajectory around the sun. And the next time it comes back around and we're in the same place as it like had a 10% chance of hitting us. It passed between the Earth and the moon. So it's, like near Earth asteroid,
Yeah, passing in between the Earth and the moon, seems like a pretty tight distance, like for something like that to occur. It's, yeah, I mean, I'm just like, wait, what? I've got to, no! Like,
yeah.
I didn't want to believe that was a thing, but it just made me realize that there's so much that I don't know,
Oh yeah. I mean, I've been getting really into all of the celestial bodies within the solar system that aren't the planets. You know what I mean? Like in the asteroid belt and in the Kuiper belt and like, all of the dwarf planets that are out there that, they never talk about, like, I don't know, Ceres or Sharon.
Have you seen the things, not to cut you off, where it's like, I remember seeing some stuff because I'm a huge conspiracy head, like super, and like there was this one rabbit hole where it's like, basically this person was trying to say like when there were certain planets passing by, like very close to Earth, like way to the point where allegedly, this is not what I believe, and I'm probably doing a bad job of paraphrasing all this, but like they would be like taking pictures of the sky, and based on like certain like sky conditions and like cloud formations and stuff like that, they'd be like, oh, well, you know, this is this planet like coming by and it's really close to Earth and like all this stuff where I'm just like, wait, what? Like, how would that even be like physically possible?
Well,
like, I don't know if you've heard about any of this or if I'm just like doing a bad job.
I don't know about like, planets. There are, planets like Jupiter and Saturn that are bright in the sky certain times, in certain years or whatever. But, the way that like an orbit works, say it's like the sun and the Earth is going like this, right? And then Jupiter's going like this. And so when Earth is here and Jupiter's here, it's close. But like when Earth is here and Jupiter's like way over here, it's really far away.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. And the thing that I'm trying to tell you about is like it quite literally atmospheres of planetary bodies interfacing.
Oh.
Like literally the atmosphere of like some like hidden some hidden sort of what do you call it, like astrological body of sort, like where they're like, yeah, like we're like quite literally like passing so close by each other. It's something that I kind of like just stumbled upon years ago, and it's now coming back up like all dusty and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I like that stuff. I mean, Jupiter is theorized to have not like come from our solar system. It like
what?
Like drifted into our solar system, and it fixed all the orbits of all the planets.
What? I mean, it's crazy what people are saying about all of these planetary bodies, because obviously I think the moon is kind of suspicious in and of itself. Which
I love all the conspiracy theories about the moon. Not the ones about us not landing there, but like about, I don't know, it rings like a bell because it's hollow.
Right.
There's like towers on the moon or whatever, tunnels, all that stuff. Like, I love it, but I also am skeptical of any unproven theory.
Yeah, like I'm not out here sort of boasting any.
But I would love it if, the Apollo 17 astronauts like saw something up there and that's why we never went back. That would be so cool. Like a transformer.
A transformer. Yeah. I mean, it's equally as questionable what's going on in our oceans and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, shoot. I would think that the UFOs that we're seeing are more likely terrestrial organisms that live underwater,
Yeah, by any chance, have you seen any like UFOs or anything like?
Never seen a UFO. Never seen a UFO. I'm always on the lookout. I've seen 2 fireballs in the last couple of months, though.
What is that supposed to mean?
Like asteroids, like meteorites.
Yeah.
Falling stars. But like one was, like the size of my thumb in the sky. It was like a big fireball.
Dang, where was that?
That was over Somerville.
What? Yeah. You're just like driving?
Just driving. You see it, bright, and then it disappears,
Whoa.
Burns out, breaks up, whatever.
Yeah, it's crazy because, the more you keep your eyes to the sky, the more you see stuff. And I've seen some funky things, to say the least. One of the ones that really just confused me the most was I was driving back from Savannah, from a wedding gig, and I was on the phone with Deslin. He was on that wedding gig as well, and he was up the road a little bit from me, and we were just talking about whatever, and then I was like, whoa, I just saw something really weird in the sky. I was like, did you just see anything? He's like, no. I was like, bro, I'm trying to tell you, like, it caught my eye, and it was like this light that like just randomly appeared, like pretty much like the size and brightness of a star, and it like went down and like then kind of over and then like back up a little bit, like the shape of a J, and then it just disappeared. And I was like, well, there's another weird thing that I can't explain, it's that's just one on a list of numerous that I won't bore.
I mean, I did have the one of the more romantic experiences in my life when I was a freshman in high school. I had a crush on this girl for a long time who was in 10th grade. And we were outside in the fall after the cross country party final, party wrap up for the season. And it was just the two of us outside. And then this like big green stripe just like appears across the sky, like the entire sky. I mean, it felt like the sky looked like an odor eater. That's what I'm talking about. Like a giant stripe, big green stripe.
Weird.
And I've never been able to confirm, if that was like a meteorite or something like that. Like I think there was a big meteorite that landed in Africa around that time, but I can't confirm that it was the same thing.
Was it like a thick stripe? Like, was it just like...
Yeah, it was like I hold my fingers up like this in the sky. That's how bad it was. Yeah.
Like, was it like luminous?
It was green.
Like bright green?
Bright
like
green.
Reflecting light?
Like I assumed it was the trail from some sort of, the falling object. Like
Did it look like cloudy, like
no,
edges?
it was like clean edges.
Like a light beam.
Yeah, it was like a contrail, but but it wasn't like a contrail. It wasn't like dissipating, as in the back as it was like going further. It was just like this one big green stripe across the sky.
That's weird. Yeah.
And I mean that was up in Maine. It could have been Northern Lights, but it didn't seem like it.
Interesting.
Yeah. I think it was more likely a meteorite. But no UFOs, no aliens. Always looking though. I want to be convinced. I'd love to find out that the world is bigger than what we are led to believe. I mean, if somebody was able to prove that there were ghosts out there, any cryptids, any of that stuff, I would eat that up.
Dude, yeah.
Like 15 years ago when they found Bigfoot, I was like, fuck yeah, they found Bigfoot. But of course it was a hoax because it's always a hoax, But yeah, I'd be game for it.
Man, there's no evidence that Bigfoot doesn't exist.
Mm-mm. Yeah, I mean, I've heard some compelling stories, but
yeah,
but it's all stories.
It's one of those things where it's like, until it happens to you, then all of a sudden it's like, oh, never mind, I don't want to know. I wish I'd never, maybe I didn't want to find out. Like, now I'm being probed by this alien. Oh, why there?
Right. The stories are too true.
Yeah. But yeah, man, what do you watch like Netflix and stuff?
I haven't had Netflix for about 6 months, but I do consume, some entertainment, like TV entertainment.
Like, what, we actually talked about that a little bit earlier. Wait, I'm assuming that you are into comedy with like the skits and everything. Just kind of want to like tie back to that really quick on like any comedians that you really like.
Comedians that I like. I mean, Stephen Wright is a classic, from back in the day. I don't think people still know who he is.
I don't know who he is, and I feel...
He was a deadpan, one-liner comic, kind of like Mitch Hedberg.
Yeah. Interesting. R.I.P. Mitch.
Yeah. I think Bill Burr is very wise, and I think he's 100% aware of what he's saying and the implications of what he says.
Right, like asshole-ish tones and stuff.
Yeah, and he doesn't hold back, and he calls it how he sees it, and I think that's pretty refreshing. Comedic actors like Seth Rogen. I'm a big fan of Seth Rogen. He's a filmmaker. He's an actor. He's a comic.
Yeah, he's good.
He does comedy filmmaking, which is something that I would like to get into, and we definitely explored that with, with the grilled cheese show, the variety show, and the skits that we did. And we're working on a new collaboration with some comedians. I don't want to share just who just yet, because it's not official, but yeah,
Fair.
we've got some comedy oriented live productions in the works.
I'm definitely going to be on the lookout for that. I'm like aware of like a couple few local comedians. And I used to go to like Theater 99 a whole bunch,
Mm-hmm.
and I really enjoy like live comedy and like improv even, and all that stuff. It's like one of those things where it's like, it's like, I love it so much and I almost want to do it so bad, but it's like, I just know for a fact, it's like one does not simply do that art, like getting up on stage and putting together like even 5 minutes of material, let alone an hour, is just like,
it's tough.
Yeah.
It requires focus and attention to like, nuance and what is it about like phrasing that like makes a joke pop off or not, all of that stuff. Some people are natural comics and they can just be funny because they're just like naturally funny people, but most people have to work at it, and it like requires introspection and philosophy and real deep thinking and observation to like make something that is gonna get a reaction out of people.
It's so true. Have you do you go see live like comedy, like big comics that come here in Charleston ever?
No, I mean, it's been a long time since I've been in the comedy club. We used to have comedy nights at the restaurant.
What?
Yeah, and that was kind of fun back in the day. I don't know, Hagen Chase and Michael Clayton and some other guys used to do it there. But I haven't really, I always wanted to get hooked up with the Sparrow and tape comedy shows there, but they closed down before I could make that happen.
Well, there is a new place called Wits End that now popped up in North Charleston. I've been there once. It's a really cool spot. Right there off of Rivers, and pretty much like right where I think about where it intersects with Dorchester. But yeah, Louis J. Gomez was just recently there, and I went to go get tickets that night, and they were already sold out, and I was like, ugh. But went and saw Ari Shaffir at the Music Hall like last year. Also the Fully Loaded tour with Burt Kreischer and all them dogs and cats at the Joe Riley Stadium, and
nice.
Jim Gaffigan, which I like to call Jim Laffigan. It's just such a funny dude.
Yeah, I've never been to a real comedy concert like that.
Dang. Well, yeah, we'll have to go one time, man. Because I like bringing a friend every now and then.
I like to laugh.
I can tell that we got 3 minutes left on this video SD card, which it's about an hour anyways. Dude, I want to encourage our listeners and viewers to contact you. You're out here freelancing video work. I would like for you to plug yourself. Go ahead.
Yeah. The Grilled Cheese is a full service video and audio production company. I am a filmmaker. I do documentaries, music videos, and concert movies, and whatever else I can get my hands on, really. Editing is my passion. I'm a seasoned video editor, so if you need any content edited in any format, I get a kick out of emulating different styles and using different popular techniques. So Yeah, if you, for any video production needs, live event production, or, something with like a more involved, meetings ahead of time, storyboarding, planning it out, narrative, or, music video type filmmaking, love to help you out.
Do you have like an email address or any specific destination?
Yeah, you can go to thegrilledcheeseshow.com, Instagram, The Grilled Cheese Show. It's different content, so it's worth checking out both. As I mentioned earlier, my portfolio is Grilled Cheese Cory, no E in my name, .godaddysites.com. And there you'll find, smattering of all the different types of videos I get my hands on. And there's contact information on there. You can email me or call me through that website. And I'm happy to work with you with any budget. But I am looking for more involved, higher commitment productions. So if you've got something that you want to do over a couple of days, you can hit me up.
Yeah, serious inquiries suggested. And thank you so much for being on. We'll link to everything below. So feel free to hit him up. He's done a video for my band. We'll have that below. He's going to be doing live video and audio for us at our Music Farm show, music video as well. So check it out. Thank you again for being on. I appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, dude.
Cheers.
Yeah, awesome.
The Pursuit of Sound podcast is proudly brought to you in part by our sponsor, Zest Vodka. Zest is designed for people like us who love to have a good time, but without that terrible morning after regret. Okay? Zest started with an idea to make a healthier shot option. The market's flooded with high alcohol, sugar heavy products, let's face it, promoting a culture of excessive drinking. But Zest knows we want a more genuine, transparent, and healthier choice without sacrificing taste or experience. So after Zest studied consumer preferences and existing brands, they dug deep into better ingredients. So Zest boasts proudly half the alcohol content, but don't get us wrong, significantly less sugar and zero artificial additives commonly found in traditional shot brands. All right, crafting Zest Vodka was not about introducing just another shot brand. It's more about sculpting an experience. An indulgence-free drink that upholds the pinnacle of taste and quality. They stand to revolutionize the shot market, guiding it towards a brighter, healthier, and more transparent future. Yes, Zest Vodka. So please join us poolside, surrounded by friends, and enjoy Zest Vodka, crafted for everyone seeking a healthier choice. Drink responsibly.